Hello, this is going to be my main healer. It's the SPC Healer. I call it the Courageous Wind build. Because they chose to nerf the Pillager's Prophet set and the Pearls of El Nafi Mythic, I have ditched those. I no longer use them. I don't really know that they're going to be really worth using. Um, but anyway, let's get into the build. That's a debate you guys can have. I've made up my mind to what I want to do. You guys can do whatever you want. But here's my build. I have ditched also the Dragon Star Arena Resto Staff because I am not using Illustrious Healing on this build. With subclassing, there's just so many powerful skills to use. And so I've chosen to switch off of that, which means my front bar is now the Kind's Wind Resto Staff. Still powered, still with a weapon damage glyph, but it is a Kind's Wind Staff. You can proc this once every 10 seconds, and it now procs on overhealing. So when you overheal, that's not a healing skill, but this, you can see the swirl there underneath me. That is giving me resources for 4 seconds, and you can proc this once every 10. So that's the first set. The second set obviously is Spell Power Cure. Is when you overheal, again, so both of these sets work hand in hand. Both are procced off overheals. One of them gives you Major Courage, the other gives your group resources. Now, you might say, you don't need resources. Well, it's nice to have a full tank of gas on your DPS and not have to worry about them running out of resources or your tanks running out of stamina or whatnot. So everybody's running absolutely massively damaging setups, so let's give them everything that they need in that. And the other part of this is Ozay's the Inferno. I used to really think that this monster set was not that great because I thought the armor aspect was overkill and not needed for your tanks. Well, it's not really for your tanks, it's for your DPS so they don't die. If they are below 100% health, then they get vitality. If they're at 100% health, they get armor. So let me just give myself a little minor resolve there, and you can see how high up right there my resistance goes up to 23. This is without major resolve being on the build. So add another 6,000 to 23, I'm up to 29. And if you looked at my off-tank build on the Pearlescent Oath build, then you'll know that that was another 3180 from Pearlescent Ward, or excuse me, the Lord Warden mask. So if I have the resistance from this hitting, then I'm going to be almost running at a tank's resistance. I'll be at like 31,000 resistances if everything is procced up. Now that's not going to be 100% of the time, but if you can keep everybody tanked up like that, plus their full damage, I'm going to go through the rest of my builds on videos as well to cover different sets, but there's the 3 sets that I'm running on this. Major Courage with resources and armor. Let's go into the skills real quick. Again, I'm always a Breton on my healers, and I always run the Ritual Mundus, all 64 into stamina, or excuse me, Magicka. As you can see, my recoveries are pretty good there. So let's get into the traits. Powered front bar staff with a weapon damage glyph on the front bar. This is another thing I changed. This is the Maelstrom's Perfected Ice Staff with an infused weakening glyph. The reason why I'm using an infused back bar Maelstrom staff is this increases the DPS of this build. If you look at the skills that I'm running, there's really only one damaging skill on this build. So, just for an example, if you look at the skill Wall of Elements, the Blockade of Frost only does 784 damage every second. Well, if I add on to this, it now adds 1250 damage per tick. So I've almost tripled the damage just of this one damaging skill alone. So now I'm doing 2000 instead of 780. So as a healer, I've almost tripled my damage with just that one swap out. Now, I'm not meant to do damage. I'm a healer. I'm meant to heal the group. But that's one thing you can do to increase your damage. It's not a big jump, but it's a jump. So, the three classes I'm using: Green Balance from the Warden, Living Death from the Necromancer, and Curative Rune Forms from the Arcanist. This right here is the holy trinity of healing for me. These are all amazing healing lines. Check them out. Go over them if you want. If anybody wants to tell me to use a Nightblade healer, you go ahead. I ain't doing it. I've looked at the skill line. I don't like it. Do what you want. This is what I'm doing. Here we have Major Mending if you're healing somebody below 40% health. You get recoveries when you heal an ally with a Green Balance skill. That would be Budding Seeds. That's the only skill, by the way, I'm using on this. I mainly picked the Warden for the passives. You got the recovery there. You got 5% increased healing. And then you have, obviously, the Minor Toughness unique thing that everybody's going to want in their group. Give everybody 10% more max health. Living Death. These bottom three skills are the ones I use. Enduring Death. This is an extremely crazy skill. Just on its own, it's just an easy, quick, one-shot burst heal. Boom, right there. 8600 in a big ring. If this happens to consume any corpses, it becomes a heal over time as well. If it consumes 5 corpses, this thing can go off for 30 seconds. So this is an insanely powerful skill to use. Then I have the Intensive Mender on the back bar here. This does a couple of things for me. It does it gives me increased recoveries while it's out, and it also heals the lowest members in the group. It targets them. Two people every 2 seconds get 5,000 health, so it's really good to smart target your low health people. All you have to do is keep it out every 8 seconds. It's pretty cheap. Just a reminder, don't pull this out in town or you'll get a bounty. So, Intensive Mender. Now this one, just like Necrotic Potency gives you a reduction damage, or the Detonating Siphon gives you increased in damage, this one increases your healing just for slotting it, so I put it on my front bar. The other thing that you can do is you can consume a corpse, and this has a crazy strong heal on it as well. It puts a little ring around. Let me see if I can get it to activate here. Put it in target, drop my Mender here close to this guy. Okay, there. And then there's the heal right there. Look at how big this ring is. Anybody touching the tether still gets healed. Anything near that tether also gets healed. It's a very strong heal. And it increases my healing done, which is another bonus. So those are the 3 skills from Necro. Going over the passives really quick. If I have a negative effect on me, that's going to happen all the time in Trials. My healing done is increased by 12%. Let's pay attention to that stat right there, healing done, because that's going to be a huge one. So that's 12%. We're going to keep a running total of that. Along with the Warden, you can get major mending there. I'm not going to count that because that counts for people dipping real low. I don't really feel like that's going to happen a whole lot. However, you do have this um, healing done with your green balance abilities. So I think that only applies to the budding seeds. But anyway, so we have the healing done. This increases your critical healing chance. If your allies dip really low, you're going to have a higher possibility to crit heal. Then if you consume a corpse, you get ultimate. So there's a couple of corpse consumers here. There's one on the front bar here in the braided tether, and then this one is also a corpse consumer. This creates a corpse, but also anybody that your group kills becomes a corpse. So that passive right there is going to come in to play a lot. And then you get the recoveries. So let's go on to the Arcanist. The extremely powerful back bar ultimate, the Glyphic of the Tides. This heals, this gives weapon and spell damage, this gives major protection. It's pretty cheap, it only costs 200 ultimate. It's got a big radius and it lasts for 15 seconds. It's awesome. Use it. Very, very good ultimate. Better than Warhorn. This is unique weapon and spell damage. This heals. This gives protection. Use this. Don't use Warhorn. Warhorn you can build for crit damage without using Warhorn. Use Glyphic of the Tides. Then I have Chakram Shields on my front bar as a shield providing skill. This also generates Crux. We'll get into that in a second. And then I have Xenas on my back bar. Xena's Empowering Discs. I know they kind of nerfed this by making it only proc on 6 people. However, this is still an extremely powerful skill. You give your entire group minor recoveries and minor courage for 30 seconds. You're going to say, oh, it says only lasts for 20 seconds. Well, if you read the bottom of this, if they step out of this or if it disappears, the effects last for 10 seconds longer. So it's the 20 seconds. If they stay in it the entire duration, it is a potential 30-second duration. Really easy to keep this up 100% of the time. It gives you a 10-second window to reapply it. So really easy to manage that, and it's pretty cheap considering what it does. So here is the passives for the Arcanist. With each Crux that you have, you're going to get 4% increase healing done. So if you have 3 Crux, that's going to add up to 12% healing done. So remember I said keep track of that stat. So we have the front bar 9% with powered. We have the Ritual Mundus giving us 13 more. And then we have the Living Dead Curative Curse giving us 12. You guys can add this up on a calculator if you want. And then another 12. And now how easy is it to get the Crux, you ask? Well, on the front bar, you have to be in combat to generate Crux. You just hit your shield skill 3 times. And your Crux lasts for 30 seconds. I do not have a Crux spender on this build. So those Crux are going to sit there for 30 seconds. And that passive of the healing done is going to be up 100% of the time. Then I have whenever you generate a Crux, you restore Magicka and Stamina. And then there's the increased percentages of recoveries there. And then this increases your damage shields. So, very powerful. All 3 of those go together very well. So we've gone over the class skills. This is a scribing skill that I'm trying out in place of combat prayer. This does not quite as much healing in the burst heal department, but it does add a heal over time, and then I added the minor resolve to make it sort of mimic Combat Prayer. It doesn't have the Minor Berserk that Combat Prayer does, but Minor Berserk is pretty common. If people are slotting, for example, uh, Camouflage Hunter, or if they're using Berserk on their banner, which is also fairly common now. Radiating Regeneration, Barrier on the front bar for the recovery passive of the Magicka Aid. And then I have Blockade and Overflowing Altar on the back bar. Get all your light armor passives in. I don't wear any medium armor on my healers anymore. I just don't feel like it is beneficial. But I have Arcane Jewelry, Mag Reduction Cost Jewelry. Do not use recoveries on the glyphs. Use Mag Reduction glyphs. You will have so much easier time with sustain. This is much, much better. Trust me, just do it. If you don't like the glyph, you can always change it really easily, but give this a try. Mag Reduction glyphs are the way to go. All Divines on the armor. An Infused Weakening glyph. Help your tanks out. Reduce the damage that those enemies do. Allow them to run a stamina glyph on their back bar. You help them with the weakening part. That's the gear. That's the skills. Let's go over the CP real quick. Again, they have added... Get out of combat here so I can do something. They have changed the green tree, so be careful. Be sure that you come over here and slot what you want to on this. Make sure you got everything filled in that's passive, so you get the benefits of those. And then for the blue tree, I always slot these right here. Sideways smiley face, just kind of like the tanks situation down here. I use these three and then go inside the mastered curation dot here. When I'm running Spell Power Cure, because everything procs on overhealing, I run Enlivening Overflow for the increased recovery. This procs on overhealing. What a shock, it's going to work with everything else. If you're not running Spell Power Cure, you're running an off healer build with something else, then I would recommend running From the Brink. In case somebody dips low, they're going to pop a damage shield real quick. It'll help you get them out of trouble. This one here can be helpful. I would not recommend going for Hope's Infusion. The Minor Heroism is just too common in group to try and use that. I would suggest maybe this is a third option, but these two right here are my go-to flex skills. But the main three that I always use: Soothing Tide for the area of effect heals increased by 10%, healing over time for your hots, which there's a lot of hots on this, 10% increase, and then overall everything heal increased. If you're wanting to get your critical heals up, Slot Fighting Finesse, that'll give you another 8%. That's probably really niche. Crit heals are not super necessary. It's much better to run heal over times than to focus on trying to crit heal. For the red tree, Boundless Vitality, Fortified, always slot this Spirit Mastery. You shouldn't have to res very often as a healer, but if all your DPS are dead, you want to get them up real quick so they can start helping you. So keep this on in case something happens. And then Bastion to get those shields up as high as you can. That's the spammable for this build, so you want to get a bigger shield. That's the way to go. Pretty much, let me just show you real quick. I'll pop a spell pot there to get my recoveries up all the way. Let's get my resistance up. And okay, there's my recoveries, extremely high. And once again, I am not using recovery glyphs. You don't need them. Look how high my recovery goes on this. It's insane. So don't use recovery glyphs. Keep your spell cost down. Again, I'll just go through that one more time real quick. Let's get this stuff procced up here. You can see my resistances are quite high. My recoveries are through the roof. Max mag, good health bar. Spell critical is not super great. It's 30%. It's okay. But as you can see, you do not need recovery glyphs on your build. You just don't. I mean, if you can't make it with 3,300 mag recovery and the spell cost reduction, I mean, you're having trouble. My guess is you're using burst heals rather than heal over times. Burst heals cost a lot more. This has a burst heal on it, costs quite a bit. Look at this heal over time, much lower. This is a heal over time, much lower. This is a burst heal. Look at the cost difference, more than double. Don't use burst heals in your build. Get heal over times. It'll help keep your group alive. So that's my main healer. I will make some more builds videos to go along with this. I have my Glacial Echoes main tank and my Pearlescent Oath off tank, and now this is my Courageous Wind healer. I will be making an off healer that pairs with this. Very niche build in my opinion. Not a lot of people are probably going to run it, but I think it will pair very well. And then I'm also going to handle support DPS roles and standard full damage nuclear warhead DPS. So keep an eye on my channel, check out my playlists. I will be loading more build videos as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.